Now in this video, we're going to be trying something a little different. My field of corn just got harvested with our combine, and now the stalks are ready to be grazed with Adam's cows. The only problem is we don't have a fence around the field to actually keep the cows in and keep them from running away. That's where we're going to be totally relying on the fencing collars to keep the cows in the field, as they're essentially shock collars but for cows. We'll break down exactly how it works, get them in the field, and see how they do on corn stalks. And then once they're done grazing, we'll have a good old cattle drive to get them back home. Now we got the collars back in May and used them all summer. So here's Adam's review on how the summer went.
This is the field we trained him on. This is the end of the grazing season. So again, this is not sponsored by Gallagher in any way. So this is an honest review. Overall, the collars worked very, very well. I was surprised, a little skeptical when we got them. Again, this is very small scale. We have 5 cows. I have an off the farm job, and which does require me to travel, and I just wasn't around all the time to move them. I could change their paddocks sitting in a hotel room on the other side of the United States. That was one of the cool things to see. I was able to rotational graze my whole pasture all summer. I was able to extend my grazing season by over close to a month this year. I was also very surprised with how fast the cows adapted and got trained to the collars. It took them probably less than 3 or 4 days to get trained. And after that, I don't think they ever got out of the paddock. They never ran through the virtual fence. It was unique. They'd go up and test it. They'd find it. They'd listen to the audio cue, and very, very seldom after that training period did they ever get the shock. So that was kind of the pros. Some of the cons, as you can see the steel roof there, when they went in the barn to get in the shade, it'd lose GPS signal, and a few times they got shocked. They'd lose where they were on GPS, and it showed they were outside of the boundary. Quickly just set boundaries much larger and was able to manage that. But the next big thing is they're expensive. It was $350 per collar. The last thing is just generally how big they are. I never did get used to how big they are. Now you got to think there are other models out there that are much smaller, but you got to think like 95% of that big orange thing hanging on their neck is a battery, and it's a solar charger. They never ran out of battery. It always worked. The biggest thing is just scale and cost. If they can get the cost down, I would expect a lot of people to be able to utilize this technology.
Today we're going to be moving these guys to our corn stalk field, and they'll be grazing that this fall here. We just filled up Adam's bin the other day. That's the fan, that noise that you hear. Right away they learn the collars pretty quick. They're extremely used to them by now, had them on for 5 months and totally trained to it. So as we move them, the collars will get turned off, and then we'll let them out onto the corn stalks, activate the perimeter, and kind of go from there. Now before we can take the cattle out onto the field, we need to build our fence. And now this is our corn stalk field. Ignore the satellite image here. This is like 2 or 3 years old. Obviously all this is corn stalks now. It would look yellow if it was updated. Here's the railroad, and then our virtual perimeter we set up is this whole thing here. It's about 60 acres. So we kept it away from the railroad tracks. They'll get access to our waterway here. Down here will be all grass that they can come and eat, and then all of this is going to be corn stalks. And then they'll have access to water here, and this is our perimeter. So we're going to keep them on the field. Over on this side is alfalfa, so we don't want them getting in there. They would chow down on it and they could bloat. So this field here has no fence at all. If they charge through this, they can get on the railroad tracks. So once we bring the cows in and we cross this line, then everything will be activated. We'll activate it on our phone, and the perimeter is going to be set. Once they come in, they can't come out. So now we created the virtual fence. It's activated. We got to grab the trailer because it's like a mile drive over. We'll unload them into the field, and then to corral them back in a few months here, we'll probably have to do a cattle drive back down the gravel road. And then he's had them on a hay bale all day, so their stomach should be really full right now. So then when they get to the corn, they just like don't overeat and stuff and adjust slowly. Yep. So we're actually gonna leave this bull to himself and take the collar off him. So he won't be there. These 5 will be on the stalks.
To get these off, you just gotta reach under here and pop these clips up, and then take them off.
There you go. Here is 6 months of wear and tear. Solar panel on the sides, got some dings, and that's what it looks like. So
they hold up pretty well. I've had a couple. On one, this plastic guard broke, and on another one, they've rubbed off the rubber ends. I've also had it, they rubbed one of these clips out. Now the collar did not come off, I saw it laying on the ground. Other than that, they've been pretty trouble-free.
Also, we've only used these in the summer months, so we had plenty of sun. Where this winter, this fall, it might get cloudy, so we'll test the battery life on them. Now we'll get these 5 loaded on the trailer and to the field.
Load up, load up. Oh. Load up, somebody jump out there. Load up. Load up.
So when we made the virtual perimeter, it totaled 62 acres. That tree line there is a railroad we do not want them to go to.
That's all. I think. No, that's high.
Now the virtual perimeter updated. We had to wait a little bit for all the callers to understand that they're in here before we let them out. Because if you let them out and the callers aren't updated on their location, then they can just run through the virtual fence. So we want to be extra safe. First thing they're going to do is walk the perimeter, kind of learn where they can and can't go, look around, find things. They'll find water here, and right now their bellies are full. Adam's got them full of hay all day, and so they don't overeat. And I did spill some corn in one corner of the field when we were filling a wagon, and so we sectioned that off where they can't get to it, just so they don't bloat. Because there's only 5 and that pile's pretty big.
What we're doing here is the amount of feed out here in a cornfield is excellent cattle feed. So the first thing they're going to go around and do is they're going to find whole pieces of corn and eat the whole corn. So that's their preference. So cattle are kind of like us. You go up to a buffet, they're going to be picky. They're going to pick the best stuff first, best feed stuff out here. Whole cobs of corn, half cobs, that anything that went out the back of the combine that it didn't complete the shell. The next things they're gonna do is probably eat the husk. So all this husk is excellent feed. They will eat all this. Next, they'll eat the leaves. What they probably won't eat is stock. So all this stock will left. You know, enough stocking density, which we don't have with 5 head. They'd go in here and probably reduce the residue out here by 50 to 70%, depending on how long. We're basically running all this residue through a bioreactor, which is a cow's stomach. They ferment it and excrete it out as manure, which is good fertilizer. So we're just upcycling a lot of these nutrients and getting it to go through that nutrient cycle much faster when we run it through a cow. General rule of thumb, it all depends on your yields and residue, but 1 acre of residue per cow per month. We could do 60 cows for a month. We could do 30 cows for 2 months. We could do 15 cows for 3 months. So these cows will be able to absolutely be out here until the snow covers up everything.
And so I calculated our yield here. We did 210 bushel to the acre, so that's kind of the residue out here. There's probably about 2 acres of waterway and then another 4 of hay ground, so they'll have some green too. And now it's 24 hours since we dropped them off in the cornfield. They're in the waterway right now. It's about 9:30 at night. Sun is down. They're probably bedded down in this tall grass. So then we can go over here, select all the collars, all the animals here, and we can actually track them where they've gone. So this is the last 24 hours. All these yellow lines and dots is, all the yellow dots is like when it updated at what time, and then the path they went and took. So let's come up here and see if they found water yet. So again, the orange is our virtual perimeter, and it looks like they have found water. So this is about where it is, and it looks like they pushed the boundary. So all the green little dots are when they got an audio. So just a little audio noise plays. And then if there's an orange, they got a small pulse. So you can see this is cow 201, and it looks like there was 413 right next to 201, and 201 got shocked, 413 turned around. Another time here, somebody went down the creek, got shocked, and then turned around. Over here, you can see when they last updated, and then audio ratio. So, like some of them, from these stats so far, I know it's only been a day, but 97% of the time when the audio plays, they don't get a pulse. There is one situation here where it looks like 401 was out on the railroad track, so that's probably a mess up on the collars, thinking that they're outside the virtual perimeter. There's no way the cow actually got all the way out there. So sometimes you have like little glitches like that. Then this right here totally makes sense. This is some down corn. So they're coming in and eating all the cobs on the ground first, so you can see all their activity there. Then let's come in and change it to the last like 2 hours. What have they been doing the last couple hours? I think that's the last 4 hours, or generate it. So they've just walked this waterway, herd, and they haven't gotten shocked at all in the last, since the suns went down. They went and felt the virtual perimeter, turned around. It's pretty dang cool to see. And I don't think they discovered water until earlier this morning. So it was probably about half a day of them until they found water. So yeah, it was right around, that would be like 1 o'clock. Then here's kind of a heat map where they've been the most. So again, waterway they've been a lot, and then they've been hanging out a lot by the water. So you can kind of get an idea. So this is pretty cool. No issues so far. Everybody's went in the fence. They found water. And from our computer at home, we can double check that they're in the field that has no fence around it, and everything is good. So, all right, we're taking a little break from the video because we just got our farmer grade box in the mail here. So here's what the box looks like from the outside here. Pretty cool. I already forget what I ordered, so we'll see. All right, so there you go. It comes with some pamphlets, and then there you go. It's kind of got us on there and everybody that sells them there. So then here's what the packaging looks like. A lot of people wonder how it stays frozen. There's dry ice in here. All this is frozen. Obviously, it's been in the mail for the last, I don't know, day or two. So this is what I got in my box. This was a pretty small order here, and I was still able to get free shipping. New York strips, our beef bacon, filet mignon, and then ground beef patties, and then just ground beef. And so this is available for purchase right now. You can go on Farmer Grade, order our beef. This was directly from our farm, from our cows. If you place an order right now, it should get shipped to your door less than a week. Now we'll get back to the video. And now I'm back to check on the cows. This is like 3 days after we let them out of the trailer here. And we know for sure they've all gotten water. We can track and see where they go. So they've hung out in this corner here quite a bit. So you can see there's some corn in there they've been eating. At this point, they've kind of explored the whole entire field. Picked up probably all the obvious little corn pieces. And I think right now, I checked on my phone, they're in one corner where we had some down corn. So they're probably cleaning all that up right now. We've gotten about 0.7 inches of rain over the past 2 or 3 days on and off. It's been cloudy. The sun's kind of finally coming out. So then this is where they drink water, and the virtual perimeter cuts off right around there because we don't want them to go up and eat the green alfalfa. They could eat too much and bloat possibly. So a spot they've been trying to explore is walking down this side here, and their foot tracks are there. And you can see it doesn't go any further. So the virtual perimeter is set right around here. We know 1 or 2 cattle have gotten shocked and they turn around. So they're back here in the corner hanging out. This is where a lot of down corn was. So there's a lot of stuff to eat back here. And then this right here is a CRP strip of grasses, and we have this sectioned off. So they haven't gotten in here. They haven't, went through the virtual fence to go here. And one thing about the virtual fence is there is some drifting. So if I wanted them to stay in the cornfield and never get to here, you actually have to kind of take the virtual perimeter and throw it a few, like 10 feet over, because there is some drifting. It's not totally accurate. So when we design it, we kind of keep that in mind and just cater towards areas we do or don't want them. And then this is the waterway where they've been spending primarily most of their time right now. Probably, they pretty much mowed this down. So this green grass here would have been, knee high, wasn't mowed or anything all year. And so they came in and mowed it down for the most part. And so here is a pile of corn that I accidentally spilt when I was filling the wagon our last load. And so the virtual perimeter is probably somewhere over here. And so, obviously they see this, they probably understand this is corn. They don't power through the virtual fence and come eat it. And then also we don't want them to eat this much corn in one sitting. With just 5 head, they could overeat it. It'd be a change in diet pretty quick. So we flag this off, and they can't get to this. Yeah, there's plenty of food back here with the down corn, so they'll be able to hang out back here for a while and eat. And when we brought them out, we had them on full stomachs, so they didn't overeat or anything. So that's kind of what the collars look like too when they're just laying down. So far, hadn't had any issues, and they aren't necessarily in the way. So that's the update there. Nothing bad has happened. Nobody's ran out of the field, and we know that they've gotten water and all that. You can just check from your computer when's the last time they drank. Now over the next 2 weeks, I was able to go bow hunting here on the farm and got a few clips of the cows here walking to go get some water one afternoon. Never do I notice them acting uncomfortable with the collars or irritating. They seem totally normal with them on. Now here's some videos while I was hunting here. I got to see some deer come out of the woods. And over this fall on the trail cams, I was able to get some pretty big bucks moving around on the camera during the rut. Pretty cool to see here. Here's some pictures and videos for all the hunters who watch. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get anything at the farm here this year though. Right, now we're back out on the cornfield here. We're almost a month into having the cattle out here. Yesterday we got a little bit of snow. Over half of it has already melted. I don't know, we probably got an inch, and then also some rain. So it's November 9th, and yesterday that was a killing frost. So last night we got down to about 18 degrees and stayed around 20 for multiple hours. On the other side of the tree line, that's our alfalfa field. That should have killed it off. So here in about a week or two, I think we're gonna roll the cattle onto those 5 acres. They'll still have access to water, and then we're wanting to do some tillage on this field. So I don't think the ground's gonna be frozen. It's gonna actually warm back up later this week. The reason why we want to do some tillage here is because we tiled this last fall and into the spring. So we need to level out those tile lines for sure. So then farming this, it isn't bumpy and rough is the idea. So for about the last week, cattle picked through this area, the waterways. Now they're on like the back 5 acres where we made some hay, and there was a decent amount of grass growth there that we had in late fall. And here's what this bottom little hay patch looks like now. I would say it was about shin high, and they have mowed it all down, and yeah, they're just hanging out now. So this is where they've been hanging out the most, it seems like, and then down corn was right here. There's still a decent amount of corn out here, so they have plenty of time yet. They could be out here still. And so we've had no issues at all. Adam actually adjusted the perimeter. Once we were comfortable with it, he pretty much widened the perimeter, and like up along tree lines and stuff, they got into, and we were able to eat the grass that was growing there. The border line is, the virtual line on the computer is somewhere right here, and now you can actually see it because they've mowed. You can see right here is where they've really stopped grazing. Battery life is still good. We're starting to get, for 3 days there, the sun didn't come out, it was cloudy, rainy. They're still coming up to the fence, like when Adam changed the perimeter. Within a day, they're figuring out that it was changed because they're always walking around the perimeter looking for more. So then this is what the alfalfa field looks like now, early November. Ideally, this just got a killing frost last night. A week or two, this is all gonna turn brown, and then the cattle can come through once that happens and safely eat this without bloating. It's pretty crazy here, and it's really annoying. Just look at these holes. I think that's a fox hole. That's what you don't want. I'll have to fill those in. That happened last year too. Up here on this ridge, it is some sandy soil. Just look at the difference in soil from up there by the tree line to right here. So we'll be back here in a week or two, and we're gonna move the cattle over here. Now, unfortunately, I was wrong there, and the alfalfa actually didn't die off fully from that freeze. And with us needing to get some tillage done on this field this fall, while there's still good conditions, we ended up deciding it was best to bring the cattle back home to Adams, as doing tillage on the Cornstalks is pretty much taking away their food source. All right, today is November 15th, so the cows have been out here for a little over a month, and we're doing an old school cattle drive with 5 head. So we're gonna be playing cowboy today. This is gonna be pretty cool and fun. Never done a cattle drive. Josie's with me in my side by side. Then we have Adam and his, and neighbor Gary is already posted it up. The virtual perimeter right now is kind of unlocked. There's still a virtual perimeter, but it's a mile that way, 2 miles that way. So we could have tried to do the virtual perimeter like on the road, and if they go into the ditch, they get pinged back, and the collar's gonna keep them. But this is our first time ever doing this, probably about 1.5 miles. They're gonna walk. Yeah, everything should go good. I'll follow you.
Here we go. I feel like one of us maybe should have been at the other side of the field.
Yeah.
Is there one back there in the trees?
They're still thinking the fence is there?
No, they're just getting a drink.
Oh, okay.
So I am.
Don't disturb them. They're thirsty.
Yeah, we're just kind of gonna go slow and.
So we want them to go to the left.
Yeah. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 5. Pushing them along the tree line here, and then we're going to take a left. We're going to hit the gravel road, and we don't want them to get into the neighbors there. That's wide open, grass kind of pasture CRPs. We're just trying to go real slow, not get them too riled up because they're running pretty good. There goes Gary. Perfect. So then here's a moment of truth. We got to get them over the bridge.
There we go.
So we get up over this hill, then we're going to be in a field that's wide open.
They're gonna get their exercise in.
Yeah. Let them go out in this field and got a mile left to go.
Holy shit.
Now we're out of the danger zone. We're out in open field. This is pretty easy to keep them together when there aren't any obstacles. We just have a few gates and field entrances to get through. So this is our neighbor's field that we're walking them through. And obviously corn stalks, there's some corn out here. And then he's got some rye planted here as a cover crop. So they're kind of stopping and going nice and slow, taking their time.
They are. They just go by and
Yeah.
licking it up.
Maybe we got them in two.
Yeah.
So you just keep pushing them?
Yeah,
So I think he had this broadcasted with a drone while the crop was still in here. They're liking it. So far so good, no issues. Gary's down there making sure we're good. And the one spot we thought maybe they could get away from us, we're through that now and just kind of coming through here. Jumped the road one time and on the home stretch. So then Adam's going to the field entrance, the driveway. We're gonna go out there, down the gravel, 100 feet, back into another cornstalk field. So far, no issues, and really we have more people herding the cows than actual cows, so if we had a problem, I think that would be our fault.
You tag team the cows. What kind of cover crop is this?
Good question. It might be radishes. So then we just gotta shoot them through the gate. I think Gary's gonna make them turn right here. There we go. Go, go, go. And there we go. Joe. You're good. Oh, shit. So we ended up missing our gate to go through. That's all right. I thought the one was gonna go, and then the rest were maybe we pushed them a little too hard. But there's multiple ways to go here. Shoot for those two trees and up on the road.
There they go. Good girls. Yeah. Good idea.
So I haven't had any problems yet. Now they're in this open field. Walk down and into the barn. Okay. They're getting a little riled up. We'll get them though. This is where they're starting to get a little ornery here. Trying to get them to go to the right spot. They don't like to cross the road, it seems like. We're gonna try it again here, nice and easy. See if they'll go together here. We got two that split off here. They don't like the road. That's what it seems like. Once they get to the road, they don't know where to go. These guys don't. There we go. All right. Get them to calm down. Going in the right direction. I wonder where the other three. I wonder if they got them in already. And another thing too, these guys have never been out and had to walk back. So that's one thing. This is the first time, even for the older cows, this is a first for them. So it's kind of, once you do it, the ones who have learned teach the younger ones is kind of the idea. All right, third time's a charm for these two. All right, didn't work again here. They get so riled up. They hit that gravel road and they just turn around. I don't know. We were taking it pretty slow on them. All right, fourth time's the charm. Just get the mom here closest to us going in the right direction. And the younger one follows, it seems. All right, we got him in. It took about 5 tries there. We went slow the first 3 times, and finally we had to get them in and kind of push them hard.
So we just finished the cattle drive and got the cows off stocks and back home, and wanted to do a review of putting these cows out on stocks with no perimeter fence and just using the E-Shepherd collars. The collars perform flawlessly, actually. So even in November with weeks of no sunlight, they never stopped working. They never lost the charge or power. So we grazed 65 acres for a month. We put a perimeter fence just using a virtual boundary with using the collars. They never got out. There was a railroad on one side, a creek on the other side, with neighbors' cows across the creek. I still never got out. Overall, I would definitely say that you could graze cows on corn stalks using the collars without a fence.
That is it. That is our review of the collars, our experience with them. So this video was over a 30-day period, and we just wanted to get proof of concept. Were these collars going to work? We had them at Adam's place, but we had a perimeter fence, right? They were never going to actually get out. We went through the real deal. We put them on corn stalks, a field with no fence, and it worked. We didn't have them out there in December, January, February, when it gets really cold, stress the battery, low light for weeks and weeks. But that was the goal, test the proof of concept, and it worked, because around here in our region there are no fences. The fences, weren't used for decades, never repaired. Eventually they all fall over and they just get pulled, because even if you're gonna have a fence, you would just probably tear it down and rebuild it. So thanks for watching the video, guys. This is just our honest opinion, and we aren't sponsored by the collars at all. So literally just made this video to show you guys how it worked out, and we're just wanting to try something different. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.